G'day Bomber fans, late preview this week, which actually works because it's a graveyard slot game. We're playing at Marvel on a Sunday afternoon, but it means we get a little rest, which is nice. And we are past playing the contenders for now. We are now playing the easy beats of the competition, which, if anything, is scarier. We have a run of games we should be winning. There's no excuses if we don't, and it starts with North Melbourne, who are quite comfortably the worst team in the competition. Big preview coming up for a banana peel game, but first some votes from that amazing GWS win to get through. So we had pretty similar votes, 3 and 2 to the handsomest duo in the comp, Langford and Guelphy, who kicked 7 between them, and I'm glad we split up the love for Mackay and Durham. And let me tell you, it was tight for that third spot between you guys. There was 4 or 5 players in contention, but Durham pipped the rest. The role player for both of us was Jake Kelly, and that was tight too. Overall tally, not a lot of movement up the top. Durham has jumped into equal second with McGrath. Langford has made some ground with his best on-ground performance, but is still a vote off Mackay in the top 5. Guelphy also enters the top 10 and joins that group of players that are stuck on 6 votes. Keep it up, everybody. Alrighty, so Essendon versus North Melbourne, third up against last, Sunday afternoon around 1 PM, graveyard slot. It may look like a boring matchup, but there is a bit of history here. Essendon and North have a little big brother, little brother rivalry, and I think they hate us a lot more than we hate them. But if North were to come out and upset anyone in the opening 10 rounds, they would definitely want it to be against us. So expect a bit of feeling in this game, a bit of heat. And there is a lot riding on it for us as well. We could cement ourselves in the top 4 for a little bit, and hopefully, if all goes according to plan, boost our really poor percentage. So let's talk about this game and what we should expect from it. Not going to beat around the bush. North are a horrible footy team. They're genuinely awful. Losing to them would be really embarrassing, and naturally I'm worried we will lose. I don't think we're going to, but there's always that little part of us that has to worry. It would be quite on brand for Essendon to pump up the fans, get into the top 4, and then lose to a listless North. There's only one team that can win and lose this match on Sunday, and that team is Essendon. If we play well, we win. It's as simple as that. There is no scenario where we can play well and walk away with a loss, because this North team it's just really bad. I'm sorry, North fans. I'm not trying to rub salt in the wounds. I'm just trying to paint a picture. They're the only winless team so far this year. They've lost every game by over 4 goals. They are yet to even get close to their opposition. So really, a close game shouldn't be on the cards. As I said, the only way we lose, or I guess let them in the game, is if we ourselves are poor. We are the only team that can decide the outcome of this game, and I think North fans will agree with that. The main area of concern for North right now is that defence. They obviously let go of Ben Mackay, who now wears black and red. They also lost Hall and Zeeble, and they did nothing to replace those guys. They brought in a couple of state league players who are really struggling. Toby Pink and Big Nguyen are not AFL level players, which is a real worry for North, because we have some very capable goal scorers. We got Stringer, we got Wright, Langford. If any of them were to kick a bag, this would be the game to do so. North have already let a handful of players kick over 5 goals in a game this year, and as a team are yet to concede a score lower than 100 points. It is a mess back there. They are so easy to score against. They defend so poorly. It's the worst backline I've seen in quite a few years. This is a great confidence booster game for some. Jones hasn't been hot lately. Gresham hasn't been scoring. This is the type of game that can play a player back into form, because North Melbourne's backline it's bad. The only thing going for North right now, it's not really going for them, I guess it's something you can highlight in a pretty negative season, is that they've shown they can kick, not a winning score because they haven't won, but a score, and they do genuinely have a pretty dynamic forward line at times. If they had a decent team around them, it would be a promising scoring zone. They average more goals per inside 50 than us. Larky is a jet, better than any of our forwards. He's nuts. Zerha is impossible to defend when up and about. Paul Curtis and Stevenson are serviceable, but they have some dangerous players. North, they have some good goal scorers, but they just never get service. That's the issue. The Roos average 45.1 inside 50s per game. That's almost 10 less than us, and also the worst rate in the comp. And looking at their recent games, negative 22 inside 50s against Gold Coast, negative 25 against the Saints, negative 19 against the Crows. These are horrible numbers, and none of them came against top 8 teams. In fact, most came against teams we beat. So it shows you what should be happening. If we can win the inside 50 count against GWS comfortably, as we did, we should be very leisurely in doing the same against the Roos. This is a team that hasn't been able to buy a meaningful inside 50 in 2024, and if you're losing the inside 50 count by 15 to 20 in a game, you're probably not winning the game. So that's where we start. We get a heap of territory, we probably win. It's hard to really find a blueprint for North to win this game, because they are yet to win in 2024, and their team is so different to how it was last year. They've lost so much experience. It was easy to see how West Coast could beat us, but North have been so poor in every game. We don't know what they look like when they're consistently up and about. They've occasionally looked flashy and capable of North playing out of defence. It helps when you have guys like Harry Sheasel and Colby McKercher who use the ball so well, although McKercher's not playing. And I'm confident they will carve us up once or twice on Sunday. The issue is they haven't been able to put it all together for 4 quarters, or even 3, to be honest. You would be brave to think they can randomly piece it all together now after looking so poor for months, but young teams do that. It would be annoying, but even if they are at their very best, I'm still confident that we would, at the very least, be in the game. Their ceiling isn't that high for this season, but as I said, young teams, sometimes it just clicks for a game and then goes back to normal the next week. They're very unpredictable. I think the biggest worry is that we've never been a side able to put away opponents. We actually have the second worst average winning margin in the competition for sides that have won, North not included, and that's been a common trope in recent years. It was the 4th worst in 2023, the 5th worst in 2022. We just can't put teams away. The last time we won a game by 5 or more goals was in round 13 last year against Carlton. That's with games against multiple bottom 4 teams in between. We seem to take our foot off the gas and allow the opposition to find a way through. Even last year, we played North twice and won by a goal in both those games, if I remember correctly. Both games were way tighter than they should have been, and yes, we weren't the side we are now, but it tells you a story with the club. And I think this is a really great test as well, because we have shown we can be consistent in 2024. We have shown we can beat the best. I don't think we can be taken seriously, though, until we show we can be ruthless as well. That is the one thing we're really missing. It's all well and good to be a solid, close game team, but that can only get you so far. We need to be ruthless and put North away. I think a word you're going to hear a lot on the weekend is efficiency. North Melbourne are horrendous at conceding from turnovers, genuinely next level bad. To be fair, we're bad as well. We average the second most points against from turnovers, 52.6, but North, they average over 70. Those are ludicrous numbers, but I think it shows where North will try and improve over the weekend. They conceded 85 against Gold Coast from turnovers. I think they are going to simplify things a bit now because it's getting out of hand, and that could be fun because we are far from simple, so you might have a very contrasting play styles around ball movement, one risky, one simple, and it's where the likes of Sheasel and Martin are important, those playmakers. They could have a big say on the game because they are the guys who are either going to rip open a zone with one kick or provide the opposition with an opportunity from a turnover. Those 2 players are just about the most important for both teams on Sunday, just with the way the game could play out. People are going to be asking if there is a way North can win this game, and of course there is. It would be silly to say otherwise. I think if they can restrict our time inside 50 and limit our scoring through their midfield, they could probably get the upper hand. It's easier said than done, though. It's going to be tough. We're a much better midfield group than them, but if they can do it, it's big. The issue is, if we have the ball inside 50, we're going to be dangerous, but they could be thinking the same thing. Get the ball inside enough, score from the sheer amount of entries. That's what they'll be saying. Limit our supply, and in doing so, get some of their own. And also, they could just scare us. We saw it against West Coast. We had all the play, but didn't put them away. We need to take early chances and not let North think they have a chance. They have won just 4 quarters this season. We can't be letting them add to that with multiple quarters won. That would give them a chance, and more importantly, hope. And hope can lift a wooden spoon team to an unlikely upset win. We've seen it plenty of times before. North can only really win this game if we are down on our game and giving them a window of opportunity. We just got to shut that window straight away, kick them out as fast as we can so we can relax in the second half. Danger players, starting with us. As I said, Nick Martin, really important player out of defence. His drive and dare could cut them apart on the rebound. Carl Langford, he is such a hard matchup for North, who have some really bad key backs. Wright will be taken by Core, I assume. It leaves Langford to deal with some players just not fit for AFL level. If he kicked 4 against that GWS defence, I'd be very worried as a North fan. And Jake Stringer, he's had a few quiet weeks, but I think he'll be rolled out in the guts a bit, especially centre bounces, and that is where North really struggles. So he could have a big night, day. And for North, Harry Sheasel, same story as Nick Martin. I wonder if Guelphy will play a role on him. It's going to be a tough gig if he does. Nick Larkey is obviously their spearhead, and Cam Zerhard. This is a guy that likes to play us. I think he is the one that could have a big outing against an unliked team, although there are some trade links with us and Zerhard, so maybe he wants to stay on the fans' good side. This game poses a little bit of a tricky question for the team selection. You always want to be full strength, but a game like this is one that you would want to use to rest players. There are a few guys that you could consider putting on the sidelines for the week, someone like Dyson Heppel, who's played every game this season, or even Todd Goldstein. He's the same as Heppel and he's 83 years old, so it's even harder. He's also got a long stint in the team because of the injury of Sam Draper. Is this the game to reintroduce Dylan Shield to the fold to see if we can get the best out of him? It's tough because you want answers to these questions, but you don't want to mess with what we've already got going for us. And it's a similar story for our returning players, Ridley and Reed. They could both be available, but do you want to rush them back? In saying that, do you want them playing together with the group as soon as possible to build that chemistry back up? And you got guys like Nick Bryan, Archie Roberts, Nate Caddy. You want them playing at some stage of the year, and now would be the time for them to feature without much risk. But also, you don't want to be taking players in and out willy-nilly when you're playing well. So it's going to be a really interesting team selection on Thursday, or tonight. So we should get to the team news. North will be without McKercher, but will welcome back Jai Simpkin. Expect them to make some unforced changes as well. As for us, we could could jump the gun and welcome back Ridley and Reed if we want. I think we probably rest them a week longer. Tough to know what we're going to do. But I would say Ben Hobbs is probably due a full game at some level, probably VFL. He's been barely playing in the last month. Realistically, we should win this game. You can never be 100% confident in Essendon against bad teams. We haven't really had a comfortable four-quarter game in quite some time, but I'd be disappointed if this isn't a comfortable game. I know the old cliche, every team can beat you on their day, but we shouldn't lose against North Melbourne. We are good enough right now to beat them comfortably. I'm tipping us by 40 points. I really hope we get this one done in style. I want a lethargic game review next Monday. But that is that. Boring review done, prediction done. Leave your predictions down in the comments below. Let me know what you think we should do with our team selection. That is all. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you are new to the channel, and go Bombers.